Hello and welcome to another video, and this one is going to be about the Incursion game mode on the public test server. Now, if you go on the public test, it's best to take a friend and go into a private lobby to play around with this because, as with all PTSs, there is a very, very small amount of population on it, and if you're not on the night they announce it, that first night, you're typically not going to get any more matches. I tried to do it on the Friday night stream, and I streamed for several hours. We were waiting in the queue for an entire hour. We got one match on the PTS. The rest of the time we played MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries. So yeah, unless you're on there that first night it's announced, it's pretty much not going to happen. Which is something I wish they would address. You know, they have the current event that's going on right now with the loot bags. Why couldn't they give an Incursion tab to that? So if you played your 25 matches on the PTS and got 25 Incursion matches in, you get 25 more loot bags. You know, just something to get people on the PTS, at least for a small amount of time, in order to give people the population to test. But anyway, enough about the PTS itself. Let's talk about Incursion game mode. We're going to go over the game mode itself, like how do you play it, how do you win. We're going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly about it, and what I would change and put forward. First off, what is Incursion? How do you play it? Well, Incursion is a symmetrical game mode where each team has a base, and it consists of several automated defense turrets, a perimeter set of walls, 3 towers, a radar tower, a jamming tower, and an air control tower, and then 4 mobile field bases, which are just these buildings that you can destroy. The goal of the game is to destroy your opponent's base, but they also have a couple automatic resolutions. So if you kill the entirety of the opponents, you just have to destroy their base until it's more destroyed than yours. So, you know, it's like with Conquest or Domination. After you kill the opponents, if you have more points captured, say in Conquest, and it's mathematically impossible for the opponents to win, then you just win instantly. So you don't have to sit around and shoot the base for 5 minutes afterwards, and that's a good thing that they did. Other parts of the game mode is that there are 3 little batteries out in the middle of the map, and a mech of any size. Doesn't have to be a light, although I'm expecting it pretty much to be the light, the more mobile mech, can get out to that battery, can stand beside it and capture it, and then run back to one of the 3 towers in the base, the radar, the jammer, or the air control, and deliver the battery for 2 minutes of a bonus. The radar gives a radar sweep that covers the map every 25-ish seconds and gives you a couple seconds of knowing where everybody is. It's basically the same functionality as the radar sweep thing that you get in scouting. The jamming tower gives ECM to your entire base area, and I believe they said it goes out to about halfway from the center of your base to where the batteries are in the middle of the map. So it's about a quarter of the map that you get ECM. So if you're in your base and you have a bunch of like streaks, something coming in, you can put that in your ECM, and then they're all under ECM and they can't get any lock-ons, and that's super useful. And then the last one is an air control tower, which once you drop off a battery, I think they said it was variable per map. It's like every 17 to 20 seconds, a dropship flies over and hovers over your base for a second and will shoot people. So it's just like how dropships coming in faction play will provide some covering fire. Same thing here. So if you have a push incoming on your base, drop off a battery at the air control, that dropship will come in, give you a little extra DPS, and hopefully take people out. That's the game mode in totality. Let's talk about the good things it does. First off, it's new, it's interesting. Like, we haven't had this sort of base destruction thing before. It's always been just stand in a circle or stand in a square of various types. We haven't had like a go and kill that thing, that particular building. That's cool. I really enjoy that. I wish that they would maybe expand that to other the game modes, but yeah, that's awesome. The batteries in the center, I think, have some interesting tactical benefits. Not only does it give a role for lights, because lights need to go out and contest the batteries right at the beginning. Because if your opponents get their three towers online, that's a significant benefit, especially the radar one. It's the most offensive one, because it allows you to see where the opponents are while you are planning your attack. It gives a role to lights, but those towers are nice because you can have that strategy. You can have a light, you can capture its battery. It doesn't have to use it immediately. You can hold the battery for the entire match. And then at the right time, the enemy is pushing, it can go and throw it into the air control tower and get the dropship coming in. Or you're gonna just about go in and do an attack, and you have a light back at base. You can call out to your light over comms like, okay, throw it into the radar tower right now. We want to see where they are before we push around this corner. So you can have that sort of global UAV for a couple seconds. So you can just see where the enemies are positioned, and you can see if your push is going to be successful. Because you can be like, oh, they're all around this corner. Okay, let's not push there. Let's go around the back. It's really good stuff. Yeah, some of the bad things about it, though, is I'm not sure how it's going to play out in quick play, because I see it just becoming another skirmish match. People are going to rush out to defend and sort of contest the batteries, and they're just going to fight their way down, and then eventually one team will win the fight, and then they just sit back and destroy the base from range. Alternatively, there could be a resurgence of base light rushing, because this was something that was removed pretty much from assault matches. You could previously just rush onto the base and just get like 5 lights to jump on the base at the same time, and even if the opponents were running back and lobbing missiles and hitting your artillery, the taking the damage and then that stopping the capture wasn't in place yet in the past. So you would just capture it out before they could get back to stand on the point. I think it's going to be similar to this, like how that worked in the past, which then they fixed by making it so if you dealt any damage, it stops the capture. I think that improved that game mode because it made it more tactful. Your one mech could stop the capture while your team got back. Made it more about fighting in that sense, which assault was always like, god damn, oh, they're capturing, okay, whatever, we've lost. But here it's going to be kind of similar to that, because it's all about your opponents doing damage to the game mode structures. So I actually had one match where I was running around in my Streak Shadowcat in order to take care of the opposing lights, and we had a Jenner 2 C rush on our base. They started coming in and just destroying the base structures, and even though I was there, I intercepted it right as they were getting into the base. They destroyed almost the entire base before I could take them down. They just ignored me and just killed the base as fast as they could. I eventually did take them out. We eventually did win that match. But that concept is that they can just waltz in and kill you with enough coordination. It's going to make Incursion actually pretty devastating in that sense. There's going to be new base rush techniques for Incursion, and I don't really like that. But yeah, I think some of these things could be fixed with changes to the game mode. So I'm going to talk about what I think would be good for this thing. I think this would serve better as a faction play only game mode. This is just going to work better with respawns, because in quick play you're worried about losing your mech, so therefore you're more timid, even if people will be like, oh, I always lead the push and stuff like that. In general, the entire population is going to be slightly more timid in quick play because that's their only mech. Like, I know that there has been some times in faction play where I've been like, you know, I could throw my mech in here and that would delay the opponents by like 20 seconds. And that would allow everyone else to respawn and get into position. So even though I'm full health, I'm just going to throw away my mech because it's a tactical decision there. So I wouldn't have done that in quick play because I'd be throwing away my only life. In faction play for this, if we had respawns, it would make it so that the game mode was entirely about like killing or defending the base, because you wouldn't have to worry about just losing the skirmish in the center and then some people picking off the base at long range. That being said, there would still be like light rush tactics and that kind of stuff, so it doesn't fix that entirely. What I think would be really good for this game mode is changing it from symmetrical to asymmetrical. Have one team be the defender, one team be the attacker, because if both teams go out and then lights come around the side and eat up the base, that's the only way a base rush will work. But if one team is in their base defending it, like hunkered down, and the other team tries to light rush them in, sure, they could most likely get a lot of damage in, but they're going to have to contend with the entire enemy force that is focusing on the defense. Now, there are some issues with this, considering the one team has a base and they have turrets and sensor towers and all that kind of stuff. I would say that if they did make this asymmetrical, they should give the attackers something. They should maybe have AI helicopters flying around the battlefield that are shooting at the opponents, so that there's an extra bit of DPS on the attacker's side. Alternatively, I would also take these towers. You could still have the filling them up with the battery and powering them that way, maybe, but I would take them out of the main base and make them auxiliary outposts, such that if you wanted your radar, it would have to be something you would have to specifically go out and task a defense force. They would have to go out and hold the radar station. Otherwise, I don't want the things to be destructible, those radar towers. I want them to be capturable. If the attackers decide that they want the radar tower or the jamming tower before they go in, they should be able to task a force to go capture that radar tower, turn it to their side, power it up, and then have that radar tower on their side for when they push in. This would make it so that lights, you know, you'd place these things way off in the periphery of the map so that they're way out there. You'd have to actively defend them if you wanted them. Your lights could run out and take these things from the opponents, and then they would have to respond if they wanted them back. I think that would be much more interesting counterplay. Definitely give lights like an entirely different field. Like, you as a light, you're going out there and you're fighting, or like some faster mediums will be going to these locations and fighting over these bonuses, while the assaults and the heavies traded fire back and forth across the walls. I think that would be much more interesting. But yeah, let's see, what else here? I'm trying to think what else would be bad about this game mode. There's particular maps that I don't think this thing works on at all, and it's similar to how they've done it with Escort, where there's some maps like Canyon Network, they don't have Escort on Canyon because it wouldn't work, and I can understand that. But they need to do that for this game mode as well. They can't do this game mode on every single map. Things like HPG Manifold, you can get on top of the walls and shoot down into the base. The Crimson Strait, that center mountain, is so bloody dominant that if you're on that mountain, that one team that spawns down in the away from the docks, whatever that other area, industrial area down there is, the one team that has the base there, if the opposing team has the mountain, you're screwed, because they can just shoot down into you. So I would say this really should only work on particular maps. I think it works on Tourmaline Desert, Polar Highlands, most likely River City, although there is some issues with people being able to get on top of stuff to shoot down. But, you know, things like that. Enough maps that are enough open, enough long range that you can not have people being able to find some piece of terrain that they can get up on top of and shoot over your walls. Grim Plexus works for this map, and some others. I don't want to list through the entire thing right now, but you get the idea. It don't work on HPG Manifold or Crimson Strait because of those reasons. But yeah, I think that's what I would change. I think I've gone over everything I want to talk about for this game mode. That's going to be it. Hopefully they try these things out and see how it plays in both quick play, and I'd like to see this play out in faction play. That's going to be it. Thanks for watching, and good hunting.